Hello and welcome to this week's Next Level Show. I'm your host, Cledra Gross, and we haven't met, so I'm glad you're here. So, I am coming off what has been one of the most fulfilling weeks of my life. First, I turned 55, so I'm in shock at that. You know how at least for me, there was a time in my life when I thought 55 was really old, and now that I'm here, I'm like, oh, well, what the heck was I thinking? And then yesterday was my husband's birthday, and in between that, we had on my mother's side our 82nd family reunion. And so that brings me to um, my topic for today, which is the most expensive word. And the most expensive word in our vocabulary is someday. And I thought about this because as I was reflecting on even life with my husband, that that life that I have is because at one point I put myself out there on a dating app and I was willing to experience rejection. I was willing to experience being insulted. I was willing to experience disappointment. And had I waited until someday when the conditions or the circumstances were optimal, there earlier in my life, especially in my 20s, I had this constant narrative that things would be better someday. And I would have this made up story of how life would be someday. Someday, when I met the man of my dreams, life was going to be so much better. Someday, when I finished my undergrad and I got into my doctorate program, things were going to be better. But what I realized decade after decade, actually, is that as I achieved those someday narratives, there were just new problems. And so I'm sharing this with you because maybe you can relate or identify with having a someday narrative that you're putting what you want on hold for this proverbial non existent someday. Because this is the thing, the right time is a decision. It's not a set of circumstances. And it's a decision that only you can make. And expanding your capacity to be able to handle what you're asking for only comes from putting yourself out there when it's not necessarily the quote unquote right time in terms of how it feels. Let me give you a prime example. I was in the grocery store recently, and this little girl, I mean, she was having a moment. She was having a moment. And she must have said mommy 900 times. I lost track. And she was, I mean, at a loud, I mean, to the point where it was like piercing my ears. And her mother just leaned down and she was like, Jessica, mommy needs you to wait until we get out of line. And I was just so proud of this woman. I was like, because she had the capacity for this little girl. Clearly, I did not have the capacity. My home is quiet. We don't have children. My home, I'm an only child. I'm used to a very quiet home. But obviously, she had the capacity to, in a calm way, not allow her daughter's moment to interrupt her moment. This woman was polite, she was smiling. And I'm using this example because when we are waiting until someday, I work with so many women and I'm always reading about how we can have a better life and just immersing myself in just human behavior. When we have this idea that things will be better someday when a certain set of circumstances change, like this woman she could have decided that, things will be better when Jessica isn't the way she is now. And maybe she does think that, but on the outside, she was demonstrating that she had the capacity, she had developed the capacity to endure this high decibel terrorizing mommy nine on repeat uh uh you know from her daughter in a very calm way. So what is my point? My point is the reason someday is expensive, number one, is that it causes you to postpone your life. You know, it causes you to live a much smaller life. So, and the third thing is it causes you to make less money because all of the narrative of someday always has built in it a delay. It always has some tenet of now is not enough. And so anytime our mind has a narrative that this made up story of someday that doesn't exist will be better than now, I want you to understand that it's robbing you of now. And any narrative that your mind may construct that robs you of now is one that I want you to really be aware of. So the takeaway from this video this week is to really monitor and be aware of the sentences that invite you to put something off that you know that if you took the step today, it would move you forward. Even this video, I am just coming from the gym and I was like, okay, I need to decide what I'm going to wear for this video. I need to put my makeup on, shower, all that. And I said, no, what better example than to actually show up on video with no makeup, with my gym top on, than to just really demonstrate for you that someday doesn't exist, that the right time is a decision. It's a decision. And I'm pausing so that you can really think about your life and in what areas are you waiting for circumstances to change when really it's an invitation for you to decide that you're going to make now the right time and expand your capacity, your emotional capacity to handle it, your spiritual capacity, your relational capacity. I can tell you the beautiful thing about being a part of the planning committee for our family reunion is that it expanded my capacity for so many different personalities, so many opinions, so many differences, so many just angles of things that didn't go the way we planned as a committee, and we still, wanted to show up for people in a different way. So on the other side of that, I'm a different person. I'm a different person. I have expanded my capacity for more emotionally. And the only way you can expand your capacity for more is to drop using the word someday. All right. That's what I have for you this week on the Next Level Show, and I will see you in the next video. Your work for this week, should you accept it, your growth work is to be aware of the narratives that are inviting you to postpone what you know would be helpful if you just decided to do it right now. All right. God bless. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.